And we are alive, everyone. Hello, America. The doors are wide open and ready for you to virtually come in and be a part of the conversation with us tonight. Thank you for joining us here at Gay Town Hall, bringing LGBTQ voices into the discussion and debate and advertising you with America's most diverse group of personalities from the LGBTQ community in history. I'm your moderator, David Quiñones, also known as the Social Club Butterfly. I serve as the executive director of my own personal nonprofit organization, GVSC Gay Vista Social Club, here building friendships across South Florida, as well as the director of community and business outreach here at Happening Out Television Network. Because if it's happening in the LGBTQ world, it is happening out. We here at Gay Town Hall want you to join the conversation with us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. as we broadcast to you on Facebook and YouTube, and start following us on our newest platforms, Twitter and LinkedIn. Let's get this show started, America, here on Thursday, April 8th, 2021. Welcome, everybody, to Gay Town Hall. All right, so I am thrilled to welcome Gay Town Hall's lead host for tonight's conversation. He is one of Miami's most critically acclaimed comedians and lecturers. In his 15th year as a professor of sociology and social sciences at Miami-Dade College, he is arguably one of the most popular professors as well. A Miami native, he often combines his passion, knowledge of Miami's colorful history and characters on stage in the classroom and in articles. He also often serves as MC for large public events around South Florida, drawing his materials from a diverse background spanning many diverse jobs, professions, and unique experiences. He is a Miami historian, student advisor, counselor, and guide. He has been named New Times Best Comedian, Ultimate Miami Comedian, Miami One Foundation Artist Award recipient, and the University of Miami's highest honor, Iron Arrow. He is also known as South Florida's first out comedian. His worst attribute is he's always trying to be funny, but others can get tired of always hearing jokes. His best attribute is he can be very funny and great at conversation. Let's please welcome Gay Town Hall's lead host tonight, critically acclaimed stand-up comedian, Freddy Stebbins. Hey, Freddy.
Hey, wow. That was a great intro. It's almost as if I wrote that. Thank you.
I feel like it came from your mouth to my fingertips, and here we are. How are we doing today? Are we nervous? Are we excited?
I mean, I'm really excited to be here. I love being a part of this, and it's very important for the gay community, and it allows me to wear bright fuchsia jackets online. And that's
look, we match. This was not even planned.
And that wasn't even planned. That wasn't even planned.
That was not even planned. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, what's on your mind for this week. And also, I hear there's a couple of shows you have coming up. So why don't you take it away?
Yeah, well, thanks, Dave. It's great to be here. My name is Freddy, and I'm not only a comic, I'm also a college professor. I'm overrated, overworked, and sometimes unemployed. It's really, really great to be here with you guys. This is my fourth or fifth time I've been a part of Gay Town Hall. I'm not scared, but I will tell you that gay audiences are the most critical when it comes to comedy. So I have to be on my A game tonight. You know what I'm saying?
A+, no A minuses, no A minuses.
No.
And what is on your mind, if anything else, for the week? And what are some of your upcoming shows that if people want to catch you perform?
I have some big shows coming up. Finally, fucking COVID has ruined it for a lot of performers, but they're all coming back. I have a big show at the Yumbrella Club, which is in South Miami, and that will be on the 17th. And we're giving a huge discount to all the viewers tonight, and it's a really, really great show. I'll be headlining it and doing all my characters. I'm a character comedian. I do impersonations, and we'll have 3 other local comedians. It's a really, really great show. And if you're not interested in that, I do an old school 1960s style lounge act circa North Miami Beach, the Deauville Hotel, Smoky Lounge variety show. Think of like Ed Sullivan in the 50s. And I dress in a pink tuxedo. I have my own band. And we bring out comics, the jugglers. We have Dasha Sweetwaters, the drag queen, is going to be a part of this show. And that's on 420. Yeah, that's on 420, which is an appropriate night. And that will be at the Anderson in Midtown Miami. So, and that's free. So come on out. Oh, what's on my mind? I'm so glad you asked, David. I don't know about you guys, but sure, I'm happy COVID is ending, but I'm also a little bit wary of COVID ending. For example, what are we going to do when we can't use our COVID excuses? Do you know the COVID excuses? You've all fucking used the COVID excuses. What am I going to do? I'm sorry. Yeah, I would love to go to your wedding in Kansas, but COVID. I'm sorry, I can't take that job. COVID. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't go to class today. COVID. I'm sorry, I can't sleep with you, even though you're 20 pounds overweight. COVID.
Oh, if we had a quarter, Freddie, if we had a quarter. Well, let's see if we can get a couple of quarters into that imaginary jar. So we're going to kick our show off tonight the way that we do every night. So let's talk to our top voices of the week. It's time to kick off our segment that we like to call What's on Your Mind. So for today, What's on Your Mind? Each of our hosts are going to say good or bad in just 30 seconds. And since tonight's theme is about our comedian host, we want to know what's the funniest moment that has ever happened to you. So up first, let's welcome our lawyer and professional contrarian. Let's bring Brian Pita to the stage. Hey, Brian.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Freddie.
Hey.
Meet you.
Good to meet you.
So actually, it's funny because I was going to talk about the changes now with COVID.
Right.
And one of the things that I thought about today actually is in my office building, they had this rule of one person at a time. And I've always absolutely hated trying to make small talk in an elevator. So I was really actually happy the past, 8, 9, unswear. You didn't have to talk to anyone in the elevator. I'm like, sorry, one at a time. But now it's back to, oh yeah, you get your ride up with me. How are you doing?
What you do in the elevator, just do this all the time.
If I had a superpower, that would probably be the ability to automatically shut an
so true
elevator door.
For America, he doesn't like small talk, only big conversations. Perfect.
Important stuff all the time.
Important. All right. Up next, we have our social media influencer and Grab magazine writer. Let's please welcome Dylan Seitz to the screen. Hey, Dylan.
Hello, hello, hello. How are we all doing tonight?
All right.
Good.
That's good. So in terms of what's on my mind, so we're talking about the funniest moment that we can think of. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this might be a little bit inappropriate, so I don't know if it's okay to say. Are we cool with that?
I mean, the lead host is a comedian. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah,
so
please.
Probably one of my famous or most funniest moments ever. I was actually hanging out with someone. I was getting a blowjob, and we were watching a movie. We were watching Ratatouille, of all films.
No, it wasn't Ratatouille. Remember, it was. Oh, sorry.
No. So we were watching Ratatouille, and we were at the part where like the critic is like saying, "If I don't love it, I don't swallow." As this guy's going down on me, and I legitimately just died laughing for at least like 5 to 10 minutes to the point of tears. It was
fucking great.
It was great. It was fantastic. It couldn't have been rehearsed. It was too perfect.
So viewers, what Dylan's trying to say is swallow.
Yes.
And not in the elevator to create small talk with Brian while he's trying to.
There's one way to avoid small talk, actually.
Oh, so Brian's on board. Okay, perfect. Up
That's
next,
great.
let's have our non-culture identity from Sawmills Camp and Resort. Let's please welcome John Holt. Hey, John.
Hey, hi, everybody.
Hey.
What's on my mind is Virginia just legalized marijuana, so the South is now in. So
Thank God.
that's great. That's great news. And Sawmills having Cowboy Weekend this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. And then our 23rd anniversary next weekend, so that should be a party.
Are we able to get a sneak peek of the chaps and the hat you're going to be wearing at the rodeo?
No. Less is more. The weather's warm, so less is more now. Just a hat.
And does that tie into your funniest moment, or what's your funniest moment?
Oh no, I don't know. I've had lots of funny moments. I can't think of one except this one I just had recently, and it might not seem funny, but afterwards it was funny. I was out blowing off the leaves off the porch and out of the yard, and I was wearing drawstring pants, and the blower caught a hold of my drawstring and just ripped the string right out from me. It was like physical comedy.
Mind you, only the drawstring, not what the drawstring was attached to. That's good. All right, up next, we are going to bring on our stage our queer performer and game show host. Let's please welcome Marie Brand. Hey, Marie.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So what's on my mind? I'm really excited. I got my second dose on Friday. I feel really blessed to have been able to get my dose. And you know what? The world is opening back up. California, we were a lot stricter than Florida. And I'm excited to be able to do things again. As for what's the funniest moment I can think of, I don't know. My life has been a series of continuous humiliations. So before I answered this question, I would actually have to talk to my therapist. So I'm going to leave that there.
Yes.
So there we go.
Sure.
So highly blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, there you go.
Got it. Someone who is also highly blessed and highly favored. Let's please welcome our hybrid DJ diva and political activist, Miss Power Infinity. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, child. So, I guess funniest moment for me would be the time that I was performing on South Beach, and I was a youngin', didn't really know how to tuck correctly, and
the joke.
And I came out on stage, and my hoo-ha popped out in front of Carol Burnett's daughter.
Oh my God, we were just talking about that.
One Memorial weekend at Salvation. So it wasn't funny at the time, but going back now it's funny. Also, something that I think is funny, and it's also what's on my mind. I think it's funny how people always avoid that, like the plague. The plague shows up, and like millions of people, very little to avoid it. So
yeah,
that's good. That's a good one.
So Power has a nickname, Gonzo, the boy.
Yeah. So
let's just stick with hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha.
The hoo-ha. And finally, we have our gay Asian pop star. Let's see what he's wearing today. Let's please welcome Randy Boo.
Hi guys. Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? How's the hoo-has? What's on my mind? I guess is why is the vaccine still kind of sting? It's been almost a week, and it feels like it's sore. But anyways,
it was a shot for syphilis. That's what you got.
It was the hoo-ha shot. So go ahead.
Maybe that's what it was, huh? Yeah. Just kidding. Anyways, funniest moment. My gosh, I still remember this like it was just yesterday. I rushed into an elevator thinking it was empty, and I was there by myself. So I was like, okay, cool, nobody's here. I'm gonna let one out. So I did. I let it go, and in the elevator, while the door was closing, someone reached their hand in there.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! She just walked in. She was just like.
And this is why Brian doesn't like elevators or small enclosed spaces.
I taught her a lesson to stop the elevator.
It all comes back. It all circles back.
It all circles back to
and the funniest thing was like.
All right, let's give a round of applause for all of our hosts for what's on their mind today. We're going to have a nice conversation tonight. So let's go ahead and let's get this show on the road. And let's keep it moving. All right, so here on Gay Town Hall, you may have questions, and we definitely want to hear and see your answers. We want you, our social media viewing audience, to let your voice be heard and weigh in on what we're talking about. It's time for our weekly Gay Town poll. All right, so all of our hosts have cast their votes in already. For our viewers watching at home who want to participate, click on the link that's posted in tonight's episode and submit your answers. Later on, before the end of the show, we will share the results visually on the screen and see which answer was the winner. So tonight's Gay Town poll is about who is the funniest person of all time? Not just comedian, but funniest in everything they do in their life. Choices are Bill Cosby, Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin, Jim Carrey, Leslie Nielsen, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Steve Martin, and Will Ferrell. So what do you guys think? Who is the funniest person of all time based on this poll, and who maybe or may not didn't quite make it into the list?
Well, I'd first like to say that the picture you just showed none of the comedians. I don't know.
Truth in advertising.
I love that. I love that. And I love that David's such an expert in comedy. He called him George Carlin, which I didn't know that was
exactly.
George Carlin. But no, I'm fucking with you. They're all good. I would say from that list, I like impersonation, so I'm going to go with Robin Williams. But there's so many people we missed: Dave Chappelle, Sacha Baron Cohen, Michelle Wolf, Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett.
Well, remember, the list is really 25, but this was the top of the list.
Okay, all right.
Some of those names are there, but
yeah, love it. It looks great. I would put Donald Trump at the very top of it. Should be the best.
Actually, low key.
All right. Any other predictions? Power, you usually get it right. Who the people choose?
I predict Robin Williams is probably gonna.
I agree.
Probably Robin Williams.
All right. So let's stay tuned and find out at the end of this episode who is going to be the winner of our Gay Town poll. All right. So now we're going to kick off our first LGBT topic of the week. Today's topic will take us through 3 specific classes that Professor Stebbins is going to take us through on his way of thinking, and it's all about people. So our first course today is course number 609, Interage Relationships. And Professor Stebbins, why don't you take us through our first topic of the night?
Okay, so I thought that this would be an interesting topic. Most people tend to date, or marry people within a few years of their age. In sociology, we talk about this all the time. It's usually within 2 years, sometimes 5. Now, maybe there's people 10. However, we're finding that in these traditional parameters are changing now. They're changing. In other words, a lot of people are starting to date people that are what we call intergenerational, maybe 15 years older or 20 years younger or more. So my question is this okay? Is it okay to date or even marry a person that is much younger or much older than you, perhaps 10 or 20 years apart or sometimes more? There's a stigma against this, I think, not only in the straight community, but also in the gay community a little bit. And if so, why is this? Is it warranted? Maybe it is. Should we be more embracing of these types of attractions and relationships between people of different generations? And so I wanted to throw that out there. And, non-disclosure here, I have dated people much younger than me. And when I was younger, I also dated someone that was much older than me. So, that's why I brought it up.
All right, so let's jump right into our first course number 609, Interage Relationships. We're going to do our quick fire round, 30 seconds for everybody around the table, and then we're going to open it up for our open discussion. And let's start with Power. Power, kick this off for us if you could.
Well, I feel very strongly about this topic because my husband is 22 years my senior. And I think this is a very interesting topic. I'm definitely going to be interested to see what everybody else has to say, but I think that I would really like to come to a point in time where this topic is not an issue, because ageism is a real thing, and people that kind of discriminate against others because of their age and kind of look at inter-age relationships as some type of taboo, I think are idiots. So I'd like to come to a point where this is not even an issue anymore.
All right, let's keep this moving. Randy, you're up.
Age is nothing but a number. I mean, love is universal. You could fall in love with something as long as it's, there's connection from two different people. And it doesn't matter if they're the age, the race, whatever. I mean, it should be okay. Who are we to say who we can't love?
All right, up next, John.
Hi. I would say it's okay to date someone who's, a lot younger. I mean, the relationship I was in for 28 years, we were 10 years apart. And so I like that. When it comes to marriage, then I'm not against it. There's no taboo, but I worry that people have to think through a lot of the things that come with large differences in ages, right? So my partner retired 10 years before me, and that could be a major problem, especially when we broke up. It turned out to be a major problem, and there's things like that. So if you can work out the practical details, I don't see anything wrong with it. But people have to think about how age differences can affect life at different times in your life. So.
All right, Dylan.
All right, so I'm gonna actually challenge the question a little bit. Why is it not okay to be in a relationship with someone that's 10 or 20 years your senior? For me, myself, I honestly, like what Randy said, age is just a number to me. What does it have to really factor in? Everyone is their own individual person, and your maturity level is going to vary from person to person. You can have someone that's a 50-year-old that acts like a 12-year-old. You're going to have a 12-year-old that acts like a 50-year-old. It's all relative to what your experience is with that person and how they carry themselves. If someone wants to date someone outside of their age group, 10, 20 years, I say let them. At the end of the day, if you guys mesh, or if both parties mesh in a way where you can have a realistic conversation and be on the same page, then more power to you. And I do realize that with age groups, the differences between maybe someone in their 20s or someone in their 30s or 40s, they're going to be worlds apart in some categories, but that's whatever.
All right, Marie.
Honestly, I think you should do what you want to do. I think there are important dynamics to consider when you're in interage relationships. I've been in all sorts of relationships with people younger, older, but there are power dynamics that come into play. I think you got to think about those things in your own personal relationships, maybe goals. If we're not, if you want to retire in 10 years and I'm on a 30-year plan, we got to talk about that. I think as long as goals align and you understand that the potential power imbalances in those relationships, income-wise, socially, then I think you can navigate those as long as you do it intentionally and seeking the best for what you need and what the other person needs. So,
all right, and last up, Brian.
So I'm actually going to echo a lot of what John and Marie said. I personally, I don't think there's any problem with it. I think the question is strange. Is it okay? Yeah, sure, it's okay. But there's lots of things to consider. And personally, I think I would be hesitant to enter into a relationship with someone more than 10, 15 years older or younger than me, just because I fear that we don't have much in common. Most people, regardless of how young at heart you are, or how an old soul you are at 22, we're at different points in our lives at different ages. And I think there's a lot to consider if you're going to go into one of those relationships. But if you can navigate it, sure, go for it. I just think it's hard, and it's probably harder than average if someone is within your age cohort. So.
All right, so open forum. Who else wants to dive in and take it?
Well, I'd like to say that one of the reasons why I mentioned it, I think everyone knows the right answer, especially people in the gay community, because we've all been stigmatized at some point in our life for our romantic choices. And I agree with everyone. Obviously, I'm someone that I feel very strongly about what we all agree on. However, I do think, sadly, that there are a lot of people in the community that look down or criticize or condemn people that date someone that might be 20 years older than them, or criticize twinks that might go out with an older man, or criticize men that might be called sugar daddies when they're really not. That's not the whole idea behind it. And that's there. I think it's there. You know what I mean? And some of that is, I believe, wrong, inappropriate if you're using someone just for like the power dynamic I think John talked about. But it is a stigma, sadly, I think still, and it's something that I think the community should be more open about, I think. But overall, now that we're all in agreement, I'd like to announce that Justin Bieber and I are getting married, and it's going to be George's alibi. Thanks.
So he's your sugar daddy.
Congratulations.
Talk about a power dynamic. Yeah, really.
That was good.
Congratulations. For me, I like telling this little part of my love story. When I met my now husband, we've been together for now 18 years. We just celebrated our 18-year anniversary. And when I first met him, we were attracted to each other on a physical level, on a mental level, on a spiritual level. But he played this little game with me where I remember asking him on our first or second date how old he was, because he was just like a hot guy to me. And I didn't really even think about age. And I asked him how old he was, and he would not tell me. And by this time, well, it wasn't our first or second date, it was a couple dates. And by this time I had really liked him. And so I told him, you know what, if you don't ever want to tell me what your age is, that's okay with me, because age does not matter to me. So we got together, we stayed together. And it wasn't until almost 12 years into our relationship, into our marriage, that I found out how old he was. Let me repeat that. I never knew how old my husband was until 12 years into our relationship. And that's because age never mattered. It never mattered in our dynamic. It's never mattered in the way we act. And I will reveal that my husband is 70 years old. And he still goes to the gym every day. He's still a hottie. Him and I still play games with each other. Like we like to play pranks on each other. We laugh all the time. My house is full of laughter. In 18 years, we've had disagreements. We've never once had a fight. We've never once said a cross word to each other. We've never once cussed at each other. We have a wonderful, wonderful relationship, and age has never, ever been a factor. So I'm all for true love, no matter what age, unless, of course, it's an underage and illegal.
Right.
It's a problem.
I wonder if that's why people have issue with it, though. I think that's kind of what we imagine when we see those. I think when we think about the power dynamics in those relationships, and two, I think a lot of times people are imagining, well, if you're 60 and you're like the 40-year-old, when you were 40, you like 20-year-olds, and when you were 20-year-olds, you like babies. Like that's the kind of moral gymnastics we do in our head. And well, not everybody, but I think if you're only dating youthful people, we sometimes look at you a little funny. But that's of course because we think you're doing something really weird and gross. But I think if you just happen to be youthful and you like to hang out with the young folks and you're picking them up, then that's awesome. But if it's something, if you think you might have an issue, then check in with yourself. That's on you, homie.
Well, there's a lot of dynamics to think about here. One is I live in a campground where there's older men, and a lot of them only look for younger men. They don't want men their own age at all. And then
you think that's just like our community, or could that apply to the straight community too, John?
I think obviously applies to the straights as well.
Yeah.
But also there's the reverse, right? So
Mhm.
if I meet someone, I don't know how old they are, but they ask me, how old are you? If I tell them my age, that will be it. They won't want to deal with me anymore. Even though we were getting along or dating before then, the age makes a total difference to them.
Maybe they want to know for a DILF. Could that be?
No, I would be too old for them when I tell them my age. So if you're looking for a relationship and you see yourself in a relationship with someone younger, and when someone tells you an older age, so I often wonder, should I just not say my age? Like Power's husband, should I just not ever tell anyone my age and let them decide whether they like me based on who they've got in front of them? Or should they know my age so that they can make some kind of strange decision?
I feel as though you should just tell them exactly what your age is at that point, because if you lie to them or if you avoid the question, then you're just going to continuously draw out like this game that doesn't need to be played where you're not going to win anyway. I feel as though the question itself of like, what's your age? I already feel the person asking that question is already having a preconceived notion of some sort of idealistic viewpoint of vanity that they want to like abide by for their own personal moral reasons. And if they're going to place that kind of weight on you based on your age, that person isn't for you. And I do understand that people have their own ideals of who they want to be with in terms of like, oh, is this person youthful enough or if this person is mature enough? But it's the telltale sign if someone asks you like, hey, what's your age? Then that for me, it sets off a red flag, because why is that relevant? If I'm talking to you like a human, talk to me like a human. It's that simple. Yeah.
I think if somebody's attracted to you, I just never understood this, and maybe somebody will come on this episode at some point and maybe explain this to me. But I just think if somebody's attracted to you enough that they're talking to you, enough that they're interested in you, I don't understand why they would ask what your age is, other than curiosity, but why that would be such a deciding factor. Like if they're not attracted to you, if I'm not attracted to somebody, I don't care what age they are. On the other hand, if somebody to me looks like a paragon of manhood and they're as old as Methuselah, they better work, because I'm still down to do it. You know, I don't really care.
I've never met her. Who is Methuselah?
He's still around somewhere.
I don't know her. Yeah. All right, so we're coming for final thoughts for Freddie, but I just wanted to chime in just super brief from a few people who've told me it's not age is just a number, whatever. I think it's the worry, even in the club I run. Originally, we were 20-year-olds. Then we expanded it to 20s and 30s, and now it's any age can be possible. I think it's the mindset of, are we going to be in a different time in our life? Is kind of the feedback I got even in my social club. It's not that the 50-year-old can't have just as much fun as the 20-year-old. I've seen it even in my events when they talk. They're talking about this vacation they traveled, and the other one's talking about, oh, my college class. It's a different time of life. So I don't think it's so much about the look. They could look amazing. It's just that place in the life that they're at. So Freddie, your final thoughts for this.
Well, I don't know if there's anything else I can add. I think everyone really has a good grasp of this issue, and I think it's I just think it's a topic that should be talked about. I personally I'm a professor, and as you probably all know, it's a huge no-no to date your own students. But my uncle was a professor at Miami-Dade College. His name is Dr. Paul George. He's one of the most famous historians in the state. And about 30 years ago, he met a student that was 27 years his minor, a girl. And after the course was over, they got married, and they have been married for 30 years, and they have kids, and they're the happiest couple of all time. So I tend to agree with everyone here. And so that's why I'll be at the Manor on Friday night I'm kidding. I never go there.
Well, you know, if you got your membership card, free admission before midnight.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. So lots to discuss clearly on this topic. Lots of points of views. Round of applause for topic number 1, interage relationships.
We're the most applausinist cast I've ever seen, girl. Let's just keep it going.
Round of come on, people, get with it. There you go. Snaps for the kids. Snaps for the kids. All right, so let's keep this moving and move on to our next segment of the show. We're going to provide a few laughs, maybe, even some good side commentary. If it's happening in the news, if it's hot off the press and out is the new in, then it's time for our happening out headlines. All right, so let's see who the funniest ones are on the panel today. Here is tonight's breaking news story. Critically acclaimed stand-up comedian Freddy Stebbins has decided to open up his very first LGBTQ comedy club in the gayest place on planet Earth. Ooh, Okay. From lesbian lineups to stand-up gays meant to make you gag, this place will have a variety of top-notch performances 5 nights a week that are simply meant to tickle your funny bone. And that ain't no joke. So what is the name of this brand new comic, Queer Central? Well, ha ha ha, I thought you never asked. You get to decide. So let's finish tonight's Hout headline. Comedian Freddy Stebbins just announced the opening of his brand new LGBTQ comedy club in the gayest place on planet Earth, and it's going to be called Blank. All right, give you guys a few seconds there to write your answers down. Freddy's going to announce his answer. If he chooses the name of your club, you know, you might go in business and open the first ever club. So raise your hand if you guys are done so we know. Everybody about done?
I guess.
We need that Jeopardy music. They're still talking about age. They're like, forget the joke. All right. Who wants to take the reins on this club and open up the act? Who wants to go first?
You know what? I think I'll take that.
All right, Dylan. Make the comedian laugh. Go. What's the name of this first comedy club?
I mean, for Freddy, I mean, as you're a critically acclaimed comedian.
By the way, critically acclaimed means I'm not famous. Just go ahead.
But you are successful.
Yes. Yeah.
Regardless of that, I will say that when you are successful, you do have some sort of like ego. Well, not like ego in the sense of like, oh my God, it's all about me. It's not like you're a narcissist, but like, you know your worth. You're successful. You know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So in my case, I decided to kind of do like a play on your name. I did like Freddy Laffins.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's
homage to you and what you stand for.
Don't pick no winners yet. You're at the end. All right. I like that. Let's go around the room. Marie.
You know, I had nothing clever today. Unfortunately, not my best work. But I just think you should call it gay, not the one in London, because we may not be funny, but we're definitely gay. And that's it. That's what I think you should. That's what I think you should do.
All right. I like the usage of, you know, the parentheses on it.
Not the one in London.
All right. Elevator man. Make him laugh.
So I thought this might be too obvious, but Freddy's funny bone.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I did say about it's gonna make your funny bone laugh. Okay. All right. You writing these down, Freddy? Write them down. Right there. All right. Yes, God, Miss Power. What you got for us?
The pressure. I really didn't have too much. I had maybe hoo-ha, but but the other one I had was the laugh it up, jack it off.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of feeling that one. It's a little risque. Look at Freddy taking notes.
I love that.
He's a businessman. All right, Randy Boo. What's the name of your fabulous comedy club?
Stand-up comedian Fred Stebbins and the Laughing Butthole.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
That's a great act. That should be the opening act.
I know a guy.
No, I've seen it on TV. What's her name? Daisy D. She's done something like that. She turns around and her ass starts.
Randy, can you hold that up again?
Randy, can you?
His butthole or the side?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She beat me to it.
Easy.
Listen, you got to pay Randy royalties for him to show that.
Right.
So, question: does that butthole have a lisp?
Are you ready?
Right, Don, make him laugh.
I got two. These are serious ones.
Okay.
The Giggling Queen.
Okay. That's cute. The GQ, the Giggling Queen,
And Laugh Queen Laugh.
I love it.
That's cute.
What about the chuckling queer then? I love that.
It's the LOL, but then a Q. Okay. Well, Freddie, you got some options before we pick a winner. Freddie, tell us what have you been thinking about calling if you ever open that comedy club in the gayest place on planet Earth?
I mean, I don't know. I would say, always a good one is bananas, but I mean, I don't know if you like to drink. Bottoms Up is always a good one. I don't know. That's a really, really tough one. It's a great question. The ones I've heard so far would beat mine, and I definitely have.
Well, now the moment of truth. Who's going into business with you?
This was a tough one, and I almost went with Funny Boners. Funny Boners is pretty fucking funny.
All right, that's our runner-up. Okay.
And I emphasize fucking funny.
We're never gonna make money, but go ahead.
The Giggling Queen is also, I mean, that's got old fag written all over it. I love that one, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Randy.
Randy. Hold it up, Randy.
It's just so ridiculous. It's so absurd.
Repeat it again, Randy, so the viewers at home.
Where is it?
Okay, I'm gonna change my mind now.
No, because
Stand-up comedian Freddy,
Stebbins, and the laughing butthole.
Yeah, and the laughing butthole, which it's so absurd and ridiculous. But obviously, Randy's seen my butthole, and it does sometimes.
Yes, we know. In the elevator at Brian's job. Yes,
but Randy, that would be my cabaret club. If I had a professional club, it would have to be, Funny Boners or the Giggling Queen. But yours made me laugh. So
the neon sign, it smiles and opens.
right. Opens and closes.
All right. Well, let's give it up for our runner-ups, Giggling Queen, Funny Boners, and laughing butthole. Randy, you're a winner. How do you feel?
My butthole's laughing.
Randy's so excited he could.
Yeah, just like it did in that elevator.
Oh, exactly.
All right. So let's keep this train moving. On to our next segment, my favorite part of the show. It's time to get our LGBTQ community members involved in the conversation tonight here on Gay Town Hall as they submit their videos to ask a live question of the day. So every week, I try to do a great job finding a surprise question submitted specifically chosen for and directed towards our lead host. And that we'll invite them back onto the show to participate in an episode of Gay Town Hall. So for Freddy, I had to think long and I had to think hard. Nothing soft about this. So I had to find you the perfect question. Freddy, are you ready for your question of the day?
Yes, let me have another sip of my margarita.
Freddy was a question for another person on the show, so now it's time for his question. And here it is.
Hello, everyone. My name is Al D. I am a producer, actor, and comedian at Villain Theater, located in Little Haiti, Miami. You can catch me this Saturday hosting the House of Yas all-queer stand-up show at 10 p.m. at Villain Theater. My question today is for Freddy Stebbins. If you were stuck on an island, Survivor style, and you could only bring 3 fellow South Florida comics with you, who would you bring and why? Think it carefully.
From one funny guy to another, he had to ask you off-the-wall question. So, Freddy, who are you taking on this deserted island? 3 comedians, South Florida or anywhere, and why?
Well, I'm going to go with South Florida comedians, even though most of you probably don't know who they are. But there's some pretty funny people. And what a great question, Al. And by the way, the Villain Theater is one of the most progressive, funniest, accessible. It's awesome. It's great. And they have a really dark bathroom there. And anyways,
your number is there. That's how he got your number.
This is a tough one. I would say one of the comedians I would have there would be a local comedian named Julie Baez, because she's fucking hilarious. Another one I would have who's not a local comedian would be Dave Chappelle, who's one of my favorite comedians on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one to have a South Florida flair, and because I believe that there's not a lot of stand-up comedians in the gay community, there's a lot of fucking hilarious drag queens. And drag queens are they're basically stand-up comedians, in case you didn't know it. They have a whole routine, it's played out timing. And so I would invite the great Shelley Novak. Do you guys know who Shelley Novak is?
Yes.
One of my favorite people. I think she's the fucking hilarious, and she's raunchy as fuck. And those would be my 3.
Gotta love Shelley and her award show and everything.
Oh, she's the best.
And just to the point, Villain Theater, we're doing an event with them this weekend on my end for my nonprofit. How can we encourage more queer community to get involved? And I know Villain does a great job of offering classes and special discounts. And what can we do to encourage our queer community to get involved and the power of laughter?
Oh, there's several things we can do. First, you can go to the Villain Theater, which it's one of the few like local theaters in South Florida that is very like open to all different types of people, and they have a really strong gay presence there, and they're great. So I would talk to Al, who's great, by the way, or Anastasia. Just look up Villain Theater and send them a text. Another thing you can do is I book a lot of shows. I book a lot of talent for comedians. You can reach me at FreddyStebbins.com, FreddyStebbins.com. And if you really don't want to do that route, you can always call the Miami Improv, which I work at sometimes. That's the big comedy club in South Florida. And they offer stand-up comedy classes, which are pretty good. So I would do one of those three. And if those don't work, just go on Grindr and say, I'm a comedian. And that usually...
So if they want to participate in more inter-age topic conversation, go on Grindr and tell them you're a comedian.
Yeah, it works all the time.
You'll happily interject yourself into that conversation.
You'll interject yourself and you'll wind up with a gig at the Funny Boner. It'll be great.
Or the Laughing Butthole. Absolutely.
Or the Laughing Butthole.
With the Giggling Queen. All right. So huge round of applause.
I'm the Giggling Queen.
Huge round of applause for Al D from Villain Theater. Round of applause. And we're inviting Al D to participate here in Gay Town Hall. So Al, we look forward to having you join our little panel here and participated in the community and the conversation. So thank you so much for your question for Freddy. All right, so let's keep this moving along. And now we're gonna be on our second topic of the night. Category is business and political. So now Freddy's gonna teach a class 96. Or no, you gotta do it right. Class 96. And this is concepts of marriage and divorce. If you haven't seen the show, you don't get the reference. And with that, Freddy, take us to 96.
Okay. As a sociologist, I travel. I used to travel to many different countries before COVID, and I'm fascinated by the concept of marriage and family and even divorce in different cultures, right? It's different in different cultures. By the way, I just went to for the first time I just got to travel out of the country. It was unbelievable. I don't know if you've heard of this place. It's called Pembroke Pines. And unbelievable. People are weird there. They say things like, thank you. And anyways, okay, that's my joke. And that's all you're going to get. Let's talk about marriage. I find that in the LGBTQ plus community, we fought so hard for marriage equality, and most members of the community value and cherish this hard fought right. However, I've found that for many gay couples, the standard and definition of what it means to be married, it seems to be different from what the norm of society has always embraced, and what from many members of the gay community think marriage should be. In other words, although gay marriage, can't expect to be like heteronormative, should we examine the growing trends that we're seeing in the world of gay marriage? Should marriage allow for open sexual relationships within the marriage? Is it right to get married after just dating for a few months? Are there truly equitable sharing of property like you see in many straight marriages and finances? Is there really gay divorce anymore? And does it even mean anything if there's a gay divorce? Does the inability to have children, because believe it or not, marriage involves in most societies the raising of children, and that brings certain responsibilities and commitments. And for many gay men and women, we don't have that opportunity. Does that create a problem in terms of taking marriage seriously? So these are some of the things that I think about. Basically, in the gay community, do we take marriage seriously enough? I know some of us do, but do some people just think it's a trend? That's what I got.
All right. So lots to discuss in our business political topic. Obviously, marriage could be viewed one way, but there's a lot of other things that fall into this. So let's go around the room. We'll start in an opposite direction this time. Let's start with Mr. Peter. Brian.
Well, there's a lot falling under that umbrella of the topic. With respect to how people form their marriages or what's normal, open relationships, marriages, things like that. I mean, it's definitely probably a lot more prevalent in LGBT relationships versus straight relationships, but I mean, there's still the swinging community and things like that in the straight community, and they're no less valid. Gay people, as someone who has done divorce law way back in the beginning of my career, gay people have to take it seriously. You should take it seriously because there are real world consequences. I just spent 2 years helping my brother get divorced, and it was devastating for him. Property, it's treated the same, folks. Your kids, if you adopt, if you have surrogacy, it's treated the same, folks. Child support, don't take it lightly. It's not a trend. It shouldn't be a trend. And I think back when the argument was coming to the forefront, it was about creating contracts. You want to commit to someone you've been with. You want to have all the legal protections. You'll get them. You'll have them. There are consequences. So don't just do it for fun. Don't hop into marriage with the first person you meet. It's not
all right. Moving on to Marie.
I feel that I have nothing eloquent or even informed to say about this because I think we need to stop trying to put parameters on what it means to be married. For each individual couple, it means something differently. I do think you have to take it seriously. I was never a big like gay marriage we needed. I think I was always about the assortment of rights that you get when you have this legal document and how that helps us socially. Marriage to me is just a contract, and if you want to break that contract later, that's gonna happen. It happens a lot. I don't even care.
All right, Dylan.
So I'm going to push this topic a little bit further. So I'm kind of uncertain why we need to like put terms such as heteronormative and gay marriage into this. Why don't we just call it marriage? Because at the end of the day, it's one person between another being established in some sort of like contract, like what Mary was just saying. But for that purpose, I don't see why like we should add gay marriage onto it, because I mean, like one person to another, that's what it is, right? And just to push the envelope even further, like if we're questioning the sanity of like gay marriage, what about biracial marriages? Because I feel like people that are heterosexual view gay marriages the same way they once viewed biracial marriages. So we really have to qualify that and see what's actually appropriate. But I don't think there's any issue.
All right, John.
So culturally, marriage came about. It's in almost all societies. So there must be a reason for it. There was some reason for it. I'm not learned enough to know. I assume it had to do with women's second place nature and the raising of children. And so they had to have a marriage contract. When I got married, we had all the legal protections in place, supposedly, but we were still worried that our family would break through those legal protections. And we felt that if we were married, that the federal government would lend their weight to the legal protections we had, and that we could go into hospitals and do healthcare and all that, all the contract stuff. So that was, why we did when we got married. And when we were in the hospital and one of us had to have a major operation, the hospital still wanted to see all of our documents. They never ask for documents of anyone else who says they're married. So I don't think it's necessarily accepted in the straight world yet.
All right, Randy.
Marriage, like Murray said, is just a contract. It's like basically an agreement of what will happen or who will have what after separation. But it seems like in the LGBTQ communities, like everybody's married to Grindr. So like, what? I mean, you have to have a.
Did they put a ring on it, Randy?
The cock ring. But anyways, like if it seems like and to find a relationship or marriage in the LGBT community, it's like it's you have to be open enough to be open, be in an open relationship because it's, again, everybody's on Grindr, so it's kind of pointless for people to try to stay monogamy, even though it's kind of hard, but it exists. And that's it.
All right, and power.
The question was so there's so much to unpack. I'm glad I'm not one of your students, child, because one question had like, I just think that we as a gay society, we don't really live within the norms of mainstream society, and therefore our marriages tend to be different in terms of our openness, in terms of our sexual exploration, what is known to people. I think it's specific, exclusive to people, and what's known for one is known for another. So you could ring the bell.
No, you were free. You froze a little bit, Power. Your camera was freezing. I was making sure you got your final.
Oh, okay.
All right. So open discussion now. Who wants to? There's a lot in this. I mean, you could look at it from the political side of fighting for equality rights. You could look at about it's just a title. It's just a contract. Is it about the energy between two people? There's open. There's poly. There's all kinds of things. So who wants to take more stabs at this?
So it really depends on who the party is getting married to each other, like how they both view the marriage. Like, is it more of an emotional attachment and that's why they want to get married because they believe in spirituality and religion? Or is it something more along the lines of like, hey, I like you enough to the point where I'm not going to kill you if I like live in the same household as you and I get tax breaks? So we just need to view it from that point. Is it more of like a logical kind of thing, or is it more of like I'm emotionally like I love you, or how are we going to handle this? So there's different ways that other people would quantify it, but that's something that needs to be taken into consideration for like a marriage. For me, it depends on the person. Like if I'm more emotionally attached to them, awesome. If it's more of a logical situation where like, hey, I like get tax breaks, cool. So it's really dependent on that. So
it also depends on the actual commitment of each person that's in the relationship, because it's a commitment. You're gonna want to grow with that person. It's a marriage. You guys have to grow together. So no matter what happens, kind of like you guys gotta have each other's back. And I don't know. It's and then plays into it with this whole divorce and whatnot, because apparently it's a sin and everybody's doing it left and right, but they claim to be religious, but that's a different topic.
I wanted to say, first off, I should have framed this question more specifically, obviously, but I did want to bring out this sort of debate. First off, I will give you a little bit of history on marriage itself, the definition. John was talking about it. Everyone has said the exact same thing here, and that is that marriage is defined in different ways by different people. Marriage was first actually developed or came into society right after the agricultural revolution, approximately 9,000 years ago, 7,000 to 9,000 years ago. And it has always provided for three things between two people, which is usually been between a man and a woman. And those three things are sharing of labor and property, financial. Number two, sexual activity, because for women, sex was not actually allowed until you got married. And then number three is intimacy, which is probably the most important thing. And the first marriages, by the way, were not between two people. The first marriages that we know of were polygamous, meaning, one man with multiple wives. It wasn't until recently, last 2,500 years ago, where we see monogamy. My point being, I brought this up because I don't think that marriage is just a contract. Now I'm old school, right? I'm older, right? And it's harder for me to accept this. I want to be married to someone, but I'm a little bit afraid because I believe in monogamy. And even though I'm a very sexual person, I want to have that. And there isn't enough data or research out yet, to be honest with you, on gay marriage trends over 10, 20, 30 years. But I suspect that divorce rates are going to be very high in the future, much higher than it is with straight people, because I'm afraid of the open relationship aspect of it. So
I would just say that I think marriage is a dead concept in the new age, right? In the digital age, it may have worked in the agrarian age, and I think women demanded it because they weren't equal to men, and so and they are having children and they needed a provider. But that's so old now. With the equality going on and things like that, marriage is sort of a dead concept. Having a contract that, what is the divorce rate, straight or gay these days? It's, at least 50%, if not more. So
it's about 40%.
Yeah. What is the contract worth, really? So, I don't know why people do it except to, lock down their future or their finances or something of that nature. And I'm not sure there's any kind of, love that goes along with that. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe. And is monogamy really a thing? I mean, has anyone ever truly been monogamous their whole life? It seems like there's very few people who can live up to that idea.
I can take one more quick comment and then we'll close it out. Marie, did you want to?
Oh, sure. Well, I just think we need to stop trying to define what things are for people. We didn't have a lot of these rights, which is why gay marriage became a thing. There was a very explicit set of rights that we were just not a party to because we could not participate in marriage. And so I think now that we're in it, we get to recreate what marriages, what partnerships look like. In Sweden, they just had a kind of a switch of cultures where there's been a long-standing tradition of not getting married, but they stay in these long 20, 30, 40-year relationships, do all the same things, but there's not this formality. There's not this religion to it. So if it works for them, it can work for us. And if you want to get married, go to your church. Let the pastor marry you there. You get your marriage, and we all get to move on.
All right. So little overtime on that one, but some great discussion. Obviously, make sure you sign up for Freddy's next course. It's going to be in Europe. You get to travel at a different question each day.
You're not allowed to be married in my class. No one's allowed to be married.
Power's like, give me that damn A, please. All right, round of applause.
Power, you would definitely get an A.
Thank you.
No, Power doesn't get an A. Power gets a woo-ha, a W. Woo-ha. All right. Speaking of woo-has, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Some comments from our viewers today. Heterosexual continue because of children. Absolutely. All right. So who likes, in honor of Amber, who likes the big D? Who likes the big D? Since we just talked about marriage and children. Small D, medium-sized D, mediocre. We know the drill. We know the drill. All right. Well, think of our next segment as Gay Mortal Kombat. Battle of size versus matter, facts versus fake news, lead host versus host. This can be a discussion or debate, but in the end, our hosts need to make a decision and explain why. Prepare to find out who knows our lead host best. During our next game segment, we like to call the Big D. All right, so all of our hosts are going to get a few minutes to discuss and or debate over tonight's special. It's going to be 6 categories, but ultimately must make a decision to one of the 2 answers and explain why. Afterwards, I will bring our lead host back in to see if you guys made the right decision, who is the weakest link, and who may not be invited to go to Freddy's comedy show that is happening this weekend.
I don't know if anyone wants to go to my show now.
All right, so let's go ahead and clear out Freddy from the room. Freddy, make sure you keep your answers backstage so we can see.
Okay.
So, bye, Freddy. Bye.
All right.
All right. I've already learned who's good at writing notes and who's not good at writing notes. So let's go with Dylan. How about you keep track of the answers tonight?
Okay.
Otherwise, we may be here all night saying, well, I put this answer and I put this answer. All right. So with that said, we're going to do a little game with the horoscopes. Oh, we got someone here. I want to. Yes, Christopher. I will find you on Facebook and I will send you a message so you can be a guest on our show. Just want to make sure I get that shout out. All right, so we're going to play a little game that's called Mucho, Mucho Amor. Which horoscope would Freddy desire? And I think we might have a little special quick message before we play that. Let me see. This message is going to be afterwards. I got it. All right, so let me go ahead and share the screen. Where you at? Go. Okay. Dylan, you ready to keep track of our answers?
I sure am.
I am. Oh, and he knows you too, Dylan. Look at that. Just ask Dylan. He knows me. Throwing you
He
out
just
there.
met the other day. He just moved to Chicago from Kentucky.
Ah, nice. Well, welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and get the big D started. Mucho amor. Which horoscope would Freddy desire? So we're trying to find Freddy a husband, a boyfriend, a flavor of the week, whatever the case may be. But what is the perfect horoscopes for Freddy? All right, so let's go through our first mucho amor parent. Horoscope number 1, an Aries or a Taurus. So Aries is the brashest and boldest of the bunch. Strong body, weak mind. He'll ram headfirst into any situation, obtain anything he has his heart set on. Is an alpha male, brute force, rugged good looks. Or a Taurus, he's possessive and uncompromising. He takes pride in what he owns and will see to it that everyone knows what it is. He's ruthless. He'll leave his mark on anyone he touches. He likes to pursue with a bullseye precision. He is a not touch go kind of guy. He plays for keeps.
I vote for Taurus.
I would say Taurus. The Taurus, they want to marry. They want to settle down, and they want to just be cozy at home with their partners.
I agree with Maria.
Yeah, that's a Taurus.
Yeah.
All day.
All right. So you guys say Taurus, all right?
I'm a Taurus, and that.
Me too,
There
girl.
you go. That is Freddy.
Yes.
Me
Okay.
too.
Taurus.
There's more woo-ha's out there in the Taurus land. All right. Horoscope pairing number 2, Gemini versus Cancer. So Gemini, and mind you, this is gay horoscopes, homoscopes, by the way. So sibling rivalry within the dynamic Gemini is a constant battle between the two sides of themselves. However, two minds are always better than one. They always like to join forces to achieve things. Anything you can do better, but they can do better than you, right? Or a Cancer, one of the few who find security in being tied up. For the sentimental Cancer, tying the knot is a matter of life and death when you're climbing such great heights for the one you love. It's a long fall down, but slow and steady it is. Keep on clinging on.
A Cancer, right?
Cancer.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Though he does like to play a lot of characters, so I'm thinking
Well,
maybe he has a whole bunch of sides to him, and maybe he might like another.
Oh yeah, he might like to have.
He probably parties with a Gemini. I can see him partying with a Gemini.
You're gonna go out for drinks after this, and he's gonna be like, "Damn, Power, you put all my business out there."
He said he was very sexual, so I think he would like twins.
The twins. Hey. All right, so write down that final answer, Dylan, based on what you heard. Next one, horoscope pairing number 3, Leo versus Virgo. The Leo, one of the most loyal guys around for the small price of all of your attention. He's hungry for the praise, so keep feeding his ego or he'll eat you alive. The vain and charismatic Leo leaves for your love. Lay it on thick, and this king of beasts will help you thrive in your social jungle. Or a Virgo, he believes the road less traveled is less traveled for a reason. Not one to be a trailblazer by any definition, the diligent, straight-laced Virgo plays by the field guide and remains confident so long as he keeps off the beaten path. What he lacks in imagination, he makes up in direction and will most certainly find his way.
Virgo.
I'm gonna go with Virgo. I think Leo's in too much competition.
Yeah,
I think so.
A Virgo would be his manager, handle his logistics. Like
one is the opening act.
No, one is the opening act, and one tries to steal. So
one tries to steal. All right, keep your notes, Dylan. Horoscope pairing number 4, Libras versus Scorpio. So Libra, shallow and idealistic, he's full of such contradictions and uses his diplomatic reputation to mine something of worth and beauty out of the rockiest of situations. Assessing value on his weighted scale, should he decide to work outweighs the reward, he'll likely abandon the dig entirely. Always weighing his options and looking for a shinier, more attainable find, he's not one to dig too deep, really. Or a Scorpio, his presence is sharply felt, but he'll see to it absence stings even more. Intensity and brilliance both manifest from a cold, dark place in which Scorpio thrives from his thick, hard exterior. Every chip on his shoulder is an education he'll use to chip away at yours. The thicker the ice grows, the higher he'll climb.
Oh, they both sound hard. They both sound horrible.
I don't fuck with either.
Better option, to be honest.
They both sound a mess.
The gay Libra and the gay Scorpio.
Ooh,
I'm gonna vote for the gay Libra.
Yeah.
The Libra is the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the Scorpio might be hot and young. So
that's the problem.
Good point. All right, horoscope pick number 5, the Sagittarius versus the Capricorn. Sagittarius, the original wolf in sheep's clothing. The socially adaptable Sagittarius will learn a variety of information, skills, and personas to build his arsenal of characters in garnering the trust of his potential prey. He lives for the thrill of the hunt, but also in fear of being captured himself. For nothing is worse in his mind than being in a cage or a trophy of someone else's wall. In his eyes, letting you go is an act of mercy. Why are you mad? Or Sagittarius, the original wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh,
it seems to be the same definition.
I put the wrong one. Shit.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
I would not say it's Sag anyways, because Sag just want to always be off in the world.
Well, he's not going to take any of those.
Okay, I'll try to fix that real quick. All right, so last one, Aquarius versus Pisces. Aquarius is thirsty in every sense of the word. He is a believer of quantity over quality. More is more, and his cup runneth over. He spreads himself thin and is looking to meet as many people as possible, while never remaining stagnant. Innovative and witty, he's respected by many, but close to few. As distant as an ocean and just as spontaneous, it's hard to hold water in your hands for long to drink him up while you can. Pisces, row, row, row in his boat gently down your stream. Life is but a dream to the critically laid back Pisces. Going wherever the flow takes him without so much as making a ripple. Easy to catch, but hard to keep. It is the nature to drift away without having so much as a say in the matter. He'll coolly remind you that there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Well, I think Aquarius
sounds more fun.
Yeah, he sounds like a laughing butthole.
Well, with all their new ideas, Aquarius will keep them going. Yeah.
All right, so final answer.
Aquarius.
All right, and I'm just going to read what Capricorn was. I have the site here. It is, unless you guys think it's automatically Sagittarius. Where's Capricorn? Capricorn, in his kingdom, his home is his kingdom, cold, discerning, and materialistic. The driven Capricorn puts more effort into material gains and personal connections, but he can be quite the charmer. Of course, you're in the position to help him advance higher up the echelon. He's a sucker for the crown, a true ice king. Let it go, bro.
I still think, but a Sag will leave him. Get on a plane and go.
I would say the Capricorn sounds horrible too, but he sounds better than the original wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, Capricorn seems to be a better option here.
All right, so let's bring in our mucho amor. We're gonna go through this quickly and see if you guys got it right. So let's go through this. So Dylan, what did everyone put between Aries and Taurus?
We have Taurus for the first one.
All right, Freddie, are they correct?
That is incorrect. Aries. By the way, I just want to say that these descriptions all sound horrible. Like this is the worst horoscope.
This is
just me, or like this is the worst fucking horoscope descriptions ever. They all sound.
This was the gay homoscope, the homoscopes.
Oh well, fucking we need to get Walter Mercado in here and clean this shit up, guys. But I went with Aries with this. Taurus just seemed to be too stubborn for me, and Aries are kind of fun, and I like people that laugh at my jokes. So.
All right.
Well,
so, number 2, is he going with a Gemini or Cancer, Dylan?
We went with Cancer.
All right. Correct or not correct?
I can see why you went with Cancer, but my 3 best friends and my 2 ex-boyfriends were all Gemini.
Wow.
Power had it.
Crazy.
Gemini, I can understand.
So you haven't learned your lesson yet, then?
No.
No. Me and God.
Actually, Power said something that's kind of correct. I do kind of like people that have different sides to them, and people like that have different personalities. And I tend to get along with people like that, and that's probably why I'm schizophrenic.
All right, number 3, Leo versus Virgo. What say the team, Dylan?
We had Virgo.
Freddie, what say you?
Correct. Virgo, absolutely. Yeah. I'm a Virgo.
Yay.
Dates your own kind. All right. Next one. Libras versus Scorpio. Dylan, what says the team?
So this one we had a little bit of discrepancy, but we ultimately went for Libra.
Freddy, what say you?
First off, these two descriptions were the two most horrific people I've ever thought of. I would
if they were sexy.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt Libra. Definitely Libra. Yes, definitely.
All right. Libra, number 5. Sorry for the mistype. I put the wrong thing in the accident. But Sagittarius or Capricorn, Dylan, what says the team?
So yeah, we definitely went with Capricorn because Sagittarius just seems horrible.
All right. Freddie, what say you?
I'm going to rename this one, and I'm going to go with Capricornio.
Capricornio. The home is his kingdom, cold, discerning, and materialistic. That sounds inviting. Okay.
No. Capricorns are cool people, and my dad is a Sagittarius, and I could never fuck my dad. Okay, let's go.
And our two wet ones, Aquarius versus Pisces. Dylan, what says the team?
We had Aquarius.
And what says you, Freddie?
You guys are pretty good. Absolutely. Aquarius. Yes.
Are you saying you're thirsty, Freddie?
I'm always a little thirsty, especially for you, David.
All right. So the team didn't do that bad. Let's give it a
they did very good. Very good.
We have a new host. You guys
very impressive.
We only got like what, one wrong?
We got
really
2 wrong.
Sad. I think it's really sad that I'm that easy to read, but that's
no. Excuse me. Correction. I only got one wrong.
Power's always great at this, though. Power wins this every week.
Freddie is drinking the Wuha juice. Finally, he understands. Power is always good. All right. Thank you for playing the big D on Freddie. Now we're going to go through our lightning fast last round. This is our roundtable discussion topic number 3. It's going to be our personal story or experience, and this is lecture 6.9, the take on the F word. And Freddie is going to take us through our personal topic of the night. Freddie, and go.
Okay, first off, you totally picked the wrong comedian because I'm a comedian, but as you can tell, since I'm a Virgo, I can get really serious, right? I can get too fucking serious. And when you said a personal issue, I wanted to bring up this. So we're talking about the F word. That's the word fag, right? Which is an offensive word. And the reason why I brought this up and what I want to talk about is what we think of that word. Now, I think everyone knows what they should think of that word, but let me tell you what happened to me. All right. It was 12 and a half years ago. I had a terrible experience. I survived it, but it changed my life. I decided to, I was doing comedy one night at a comedy club in Coral Gables, Florida. And as I told you, I'm very open about my sexuality. My act is not about being gay, but, I mention it and, I poke fun at people and stuff like that. And after the show, I went down the street to hang out with some comedians and some friends. And I was at a bar, and at this bar, it was late at night. The place was about to close, and someone tapped me on my shoulder. I was sitting down at a table with my friends. Someone tapped me on my shoulder, and all I heard was, "Hey, Freddie, you faggot." Now, I'm a comedian, so I'll hear, other people say that in a unfunny way, but this sounded a little different. And when I turned around to see who said this, I was hit so hard to this day, we don't know who it was, but this man, a giant fist hit me, right in the face. It knocked me unconscious, cracked my nose. My eye socket was fractured. I fell to the ground on a bunch of glasses and I cut myself up. I was unconscious for almost a minute. I had to have surgery on my nose. It cost me years of pain. The police came. It was the most traumatic thing I've ever been through in my life. And I wasn't expecting that. This person was never caught. And the police department, even when I went to the police department, they didn't want to pursue it because I told them it was a hate crime and they didn't want the bad publicity. And it's a long story and there were lawsuits. It was horrible. And what affected me though was that word. It was the last word I heard before I was hospitalized, was faggot. And I didn't tell anyone about it. I told my family, but I hid inside till my face healed for a few weeks. And I never really told anyone about it until about a year ago when I published an article and I came out to the world about it, and which was great for me. And my point is that since then, I've grown, I've changed. Not only have I gotten over that, I've become stronger because of it. Like now, instead of being afraid of being a gay person, now I'm like, fuck you, I'm gay. You know what I mean? Like, hell yeah, I'm fucking gay. And it's made me a stronger person. I feel like I've bled for it. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound like a martyr, but I feel like I've suffered a little bit for being who I am, which is bullshit. But at the same time, it's empowering. And someone told me a few years ago, you should never use the word fag. And I said, you know what? I suffered because of that word. And I think that if you're a gay person, we should take back that word. You know what I mean? Like we should own that word. Like, yes, it's inappropriate to use sometimes, but if you're a gay person, I'll use that word sometimes. You know, I'll use it, you know, and I'll use it with pride sometimes. Just like some African Americans might have taken back a much worse word, right? Or how in the gay community we've taken back the word queer. And I think the word fag is a very powerful and hateful word. But if you're a gay person, you know, we should consider taking that back. And so I want to know what people think about the F word. That's my story.
All right. And we gave a little extra time because we wanted to be able to get the whole
Yeah,
story.
I'm sorry, you know, but
yeah. So this is going to be our roundtable discussion, 1 minute for everyone and 1 minute only. Again, if you want to necessarily talk about this word in particular, it could be, you know, I was telling Freddie, any word that has meant something to you, taking back,
word.
maybe something
Any word. It doesn't have to be that one.
Yeah, maybe it's an action, you know, about taking that action back. So let's go around the room and we're going to start with John on this one. So John, your minute starts now.
Okay. So I agree. Fag and faggot are hateful words. They express the ideas that are in someone else's head. But I don't have to take offense to it, and I don't have to be influenced by that. All someone's doing when they say that word is showing me what they're thinking. So we should take it back. We should define it the way we want, and we should use it however we want. And if someone else uses it, it just shows you who they are, and watch out for someone who's using the word faggot, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Amen. Anything else, or
that's it? Ding.
All right, Randy, go.
At the end of the day, it's just a word. Anybody can say anything. A simple word, a person can take offense from that. So it's kind of like we choose on how we're gonna react if someone says that word around us or calls us that name. We can either react in a negative way or in a positive way. But in some cases, like Freddy's, which puts it together with a bad, event that happened in his life, which, kind of caused him to be traumatized a little bit by the word. So that's but at the end, he got over it, and now he's more pro-power about the word faggot. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's how you accept it and how you understand it, and just not that bad. That's all. Ding.
Dylan.
All right. So first, before I get into this, Freddy, I'm terribly sorry that happened to you. That's absolutely terrible. I'm glad that you survived that ordeal. And it seems as though you've learned from that experience and it's made you a stronger person. In regards to the topic itself, kind of like what Randy was saying, words are just words. We people, we give them power. We give them the meaning that either takes away from who we are as people, or we use words to strengthen people and give them some sort of value. For me, I honestly, I use the word sometimes with my friends, just casually, like, whatever, like, it is what it is. And if we want to mean it in a negative way, then that inherent understanding is going to be realized by the people around me that I feel comfortable enough discussing that with. Or it's going to be something that's going to be offensive, and that's going to be something that people are not going to receive nicely. At the end of the day, though, it's how you explain your use of the word and what it actually means to you and what your inherent understanding is representing to other people. For me, that word, it only has much power as you give it. And I refuse to have that have a negative meaning to other people for them to harm me.
All right, Power.
Well, first of all, I'd like to, say I'm very sorry for what I've heard. I too have been a victim of gay bashing, actually on more than one occasion, or should I say attempted gay bashing, because in my case, I ended up doing the bashing when people try to bash me. So that's no lie. I don't play that, but I'm very sorry to hear. As far as the word goes, I think that words do have power. Yes, they have the power that we give them, but that's the reality of the situation, is that we do give them power. And so words have deep power and have deep meaning to many marginalized societies and communities. And so I think that when we do take back the power that the rest of the world gives that word, then we improve ourselves. I don't mind a queen or another friend of mine on a mic or some mic saying faggot, and joking and kikiing and cackling. I don't mind that. Now, if he's driving down the street and throws that word out, I know it's meant to be offensive. How I react to that is my business, but it's still going to be offensive. And so I think that even though we take back that word, we should never stop. We should never stop being outraged when people use it to be aggressive towards our community.
All right, Brian.
I think there's two layers to the way to approach that particular question and that word. It's one of who can use it, and that's obviously, I think most people would say that only people in the community get to say it at all. But then personally, I'm not necessarily a fan of that kind of exclusion, but I always look to intent, because you can be in the community and use it in a bad, derogatory way to someone, and it doesn't really make it any better that it's coming from another LGBT person, right? So I get the concept of taking back the power of a word, but to me, I always look at it through the lens of intent. Is it someone who doesn't know better, someone who thinks they're being funny, they don't mean any harm by it? That word is, depending on the context, can be more damaging in some situations versus others. So it doesn't have any effect on me unless I feel like it is coming from a place of hate. And that's with any slur word, anything like that, of any kind. So use it if you want, but don't use it in a negative way, no matter if you're part of the community or not, I guess. Unless you want to deal with the consequences and explain yourself, then go for it. But that's my perspective on it.
All right, and last up, Marie.
I think we keep saying words are just words. Well, I think that's a very simplistic way of saying it. I think and I guess we don't have time for all the nuance of what these words can mean, but I think context is important. Who are you with? Where you're at? I think it's important to remember that words can be violent. There's a big difference between somebody calling me the N-word before they punch me and my cousin saying it. So I think words are powerful, and we need to remember that when we're speaking, when we're talking about these things. I do think that they are exclusive to the community. I think we own the words of our community, and maybe that sounds a little gatekeepy or exclusive exclusionary, but we have lost so much power, and these words have come from somewhere, that if the one advantage I have over you is that I get to say this word and you don't, then I'm okay with that. I will sleep well at night if you're a part of my community and you don't get to say it. Oh, well, go enjoy all the other wonderful things that you get to do with your amazing privilege. And that's what I've got to say.
All right. And final thoughts on Freddy for a roundtable discussion.
I mean, I just want to say, I fucking love you faggots. You guys are.
There's the case.
I know a lot of dykes, and I just, it's queers like you that really, the queens, the lipstick lesbians, the limp-wristed Nellies. If it wasn't for you guys, I'm fucking with you.
Shelley just took over his body as well.
Absolutely. It's I think Mary brought up a great point. It's the context in which you take it. But I love some of the online comments that were made as well. We should not use this word just as a way of accepting ignorance and hate. We should take it back when we can in our own way. And so that's it. God, you fags are awesome. Fucking love you.
Oh, Freddy. All right. Yes,
We
queen. Yes, committee's here. Yes, queen. Oh, the House of Yes, which is performing at Villain Theater this weekend. All right, so we're at the end of our show. So the poll, who do you think pulled through and was the winner?
I'm just praying it's not Bill Cosby. That's all I
know. Well,
it's funny you mentioned that because in the article it says, despite recent history, if you erase that part. All right, let's go ahead and pull up on the screen our poll winners. So, come on screen. Where are you? Here we go. There are a million hilarious comedians out there, but few stand the test of time. Crowdsourced rankings with over 150,000 people voting came up with a list of the funniest people of all time, asking users to vote on comedians, actors, producers who build careers on making people laugh. Who is the funniest person of all time? No shock. Robin Williams with over 50% of the vote, followed by a tie between Jim Carrey and Eddie Murphy. What are your thoughts on that?
I knew it.
Yeah,
no surprise.
I am a little bit surprised actually, but then again, also at the same time, I'm not surprised because it is Robin Williams. For me, Robin Williams is more of a staple of an entertainer in the sense of like he has a lot of presence when he does his characters. I don't agree with that he's the most funniest, but I definitely agree with the fact that he definitely has a lot of presence and he has a lot going for him when he was still doing stuff. That's where I'm coming from with that.
Well,
all right.
Clear. Oh.
Now let's see what did America actually decide in if Robin Williams won that or not. So we're going to take a quick fire round through that. Let me bring that up on the screen to close out the show. Come on. I have only 10 fingers. I need more. All right, where are you?
I just want to say you guys are super cute. You guys look so awesome. So cute. If you ever come down to Miami, like, let's chill. Let's chill. Let's go to Fat Tuesdays and fuck it.
Uh-huh. All right. So let's see. So just so you guys can see our honorable mentions, Jerry Seinfeld was number 20.
Oh my God, we have to do 20?
I can skip them, but just all the names you guys kept mentioning. Tina Fey.
All right.
Was number 19.
Oh, is it?
And my computer doesn't go any faster. Mike Myers.
Look at that upload speed, or is it download speed? It's
incredible.
Amazing.
Lucille Ball.
Oh my God.
Lucy. I know.
Okay.
I don't know why it's going super freaking slow.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Rock, he's in there. He's home. This always happens. I think maybe it's because when I share the screen.
It's because you're watching porn on the other screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say close your tabs.
Actually, yeah. Let's.
Oh wait, yeah, just to close the couple.
I did. No, it's all the other windows I've opened. John Candy.
How they put John Candy over
Yeah.
this ball, I'll never know.
These are funny as people, though, right? Not
Funniest
just
people.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, Mel Brooks, very funny.
All right, we're almost at the top 10. Who could that be? John Belushi.
Really? Chris
Definitely.
Number
Farley?
12. Chris Farley.
Really? How does that
Why
work?
so many breeders?
But I was gonna say a lot of them are no
Public
longer.
breeders.
A lot of them are no longer with us either.
And a lot of them are no longer really breeders.
That's true. Very good.
All right, number 11, Steve Carell.
Oh, he looks good as he ages, isn't
Oh
he?
God, I thought it was Jeff Bezos for a
All right,
second.
here we
I thought you
go.
put Jeff Bezos up there. That was
Number 10, Leslie Nielsen.
I thought it was Bill Clinton.
Number 9, there goes Bill.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye, Bill.
Oh my God.
Hi, Bill. Number 8, Richard Pryor.
Yes.
He's
That's
good.
a pretty good
He
one.
did, yeah, he's amazing.
All right. Next one up. I have no idea who he is. So if
Really?
Oh my God!
I've
Get
never heard
online
of
and
him.
watch
Yeah.
his stuff. Get
I've
online.
Yeah,
and
never
watch
George
his stuff.
Carlin. It's because you're not old and white, David.
I take it. Eddie Murphy.
Amazing.
We got some
Eddie
people
Murphy,
of color.
amazing.
I do agree. No women made the top 10 though. Steve Martin,
Steve Martin.
Because people don't think women are funny. That's the
He's looking
unfortunate
old.
part.
I
love
love
Ellen.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is one of my favorites. He's so good.
Jim Carrey is like amazing. So that leaves our top 3. Let's see if we have any shots.
Okay, yeah.
Bill Murray.
He's a funny
Ghostbuster.
person.
It looks bad.
A lot of the Ghostbusters have made this list.
Will
Number
Ferrell.
2.
And,
I'm not a big fan of all his movies. That leaves, you guys got it right. Robin Williams.
okay.
Robin Williams.
I'm sorry, David. David, was this poll most funny or most furry? Because it seems like a lot of people.
Well, so you guys got it right. Congratulations on that. Now we're going to go around and wish a good night to everyone here in America. So let's go ahead and get a good night. So good night from Brian.
Oh, good night, everyone. I don't have anything prepared to say, but just have a good night.
No, you're supposed to do your elevator pitch.
Very funny.
Catch the next one if you see me. Catch the next one.
A good night from Marie.
Well, it's still, yeah. Goodbye.
I understand.
Yeah, you feel.
You can catch Marie at her next comedy show.
I actually wanna lift up AAPI people right now and remember to stop Asian hate. It's really important.
Yes.
We should be talking about it.
Absolutely.
Well, Maria said.
Dylan, a good night from Dylan.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. It's been an absolute blast conversing with everyone. And Freddie, you've been an absolute pleasure and joy to speak with.
Oh my God.
Thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully you guys tune in next time.
All righty. A good night from John.
Good night, everybody, and make sure to join Freddie at the Giggling Queen.
Coming soon to a city near you. All right. A good night from Randy.
Good night, beautiful faggots. Have a good night.
leave it to Mr. Brew.
Yes.
Leave it to Mr. Brew. All right. From the mother power.
Good night, everyone. Thank you guys for trust. Fun. I definitely enjoyed Freddie as lead host. Of course, if you don't catch him at the Giggling Queen, you can catch him at the Laughing Butthole. And just remember, hoo-ha.
Listen, I think, Freddie, you got to run with that. Power gets 10% commission. That could be a whole skit, a whole action show.
Yeah. I
And
definitely
let's give a huge round of applause for our lead host tonight, Freddie.
Thanks,
Any
guys.
final words?
I just want to thank everyone for checking this out. And I want to thank this panel, amazing panel that had to deal with my really, really bad 8th grade humor. And like the panelist said, if you can't catch me next week, I will be at the Funny Boner on Tuesday. Funny Boner on Tuesday. And thanks again.
All right, we'll make your bones laugh. I'm David Quiñones, your Social Club Butterfly and moderator, and I believe Marie is the lead host next week. Yeah. So Marie's gonna cook it up, bring the pot, do some stirring. We're gonna dive right into it. So it's gonna be a fun show. Everybody have a good night. And I think we have an extra special guest that wants to close out the show. So have a good night, everyone, and a word from our sponsors. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Aris. Aris the ram, no? Aris, you are like a giant sheep. You are on the side of a mountain with big horns. You're a horny sheep, pero Aris, your sign is fire, fuego, el fuego, fire. You're filled with life. You are filled with amor. Fearless, but a learner. You love education. You love masturbation. You are the perfect person to lead, no? You are loved. Tonight, mi amor, your lucky number is 68, not 69, because 69 would be too selfish for you. I see in your future, Ram, I see you meeting a sheep, a beautiful sheep, very, very hairy sheep with a lot of white wool around it. This sheep and the ram, you will be together in 68 different places or positions, and tonight, Ram, you will find your amor.